Do everything you got to do to continue to spread the word. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. Are you looking at YouTube also? Is it not live for you on YouTube?
Yeah.
There's some kind of an issue on YouTube this morning. I think it just popped up.
There we go. We're good.
Yeah, there
We're
we
good.
go.
Welcome, YouTube viewers.
Yeah, welcome, YouTube viewers. It's about damn time.
Get the stragglers in here.
Yeah, the late stragglers there. All right, make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button there on YouTube. We greatly appreciate it. Hit the comments in the comment section. We are going to start today's show talking the Eagles' 53-man roster. The preseason's over. Thank freaking God. No more preseason football. About damn time. Okay? And we're going to talk about it. I honestly think, Dylan, there's not a lot of surprises coming in the next day. Was it tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night? They have to have their first 53-man roster. And I like to say it's the first 53-man roster because as other teams cut players, Eagles and all the teams change their rosters over the next 2 weeks a bunch of times. But people talk about the 53-man roster like starting in March, and they have their 53-man roster 2.0, 53-man roster 7.0, 53-man roster 53.0. This is the only time we talk the 53-man roster.
I don't think you get that many times to be wrong.
Well, there's a lot of people and content creators that can't be as creative as we are and have a different show every single morning without doing 53-man roster predictions. Guys, this is Dylan Davis right next to me. I am Phil Stifle. This is what we are talking. We are going to overreact, and we are going to talk about this 53-man roster. We'll see how long it takes. Maybe we'll talk a little bit of Phillies as well at the end of the show. So, Dylan, 53-man roster. We could just count 3 positions out. There's obviously no competition on special teams. It's obviously Sippos, Lovato, and Elliott.
Yep.
There are some people that think Sippos is a bad punter, and maybe they should have worked on that in the offseason. But really, there's nothing to really debate about there because that is what it is, right?
Yeah. That's who I have down.
Should they have worked on improving punter?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's even been like a whisper of it. I think that's just fans not being happy with the punter. Yeah,
exactly. All right. So let's get into the rest of the 53-man roster then. And we'll start on the offensive side of the ball. Top position quarterback. Obviously, there's no question. Jalen Hurts is 1. There's no question. Gardner Minshew is number 2. My first thing on the 53-man roster is that the Eagles are only going to break camp with 2 quarterbacks. They are going to cut Sinnett and Carson Strong. Carson Strong, in my opinion, is a lock on the practice squad.
Yeah,
but I don't even know if Reed Sinnett makes the practice squad. I don't know if you watched any of Saturday's preseason game, but oh my God, did he look bad?
No, so I had a fantasy draft in person, and then we had the Phillies on the TV. That kind of took priority over the third stringers playing against Miami. However,
Miami's first string.
Yeah, I did see the reports and the tweets and some of the video from him. And dude, I remember middle of camp, early on in camp, people were impressed with Reed Sinnett and talking about how he could possibly be the third stringer on this team, et cetera, and how good he looks. And every live action, every preseason game he's been a part of, he's struggled. Now, I remember preseason game number 1 when he took them down the field and scored with like 52 seconds left. That was cool. But apparently he's looked really bad. So I'm with you. I have them keeping 2, Jalen and Gardner, and I think Carson Strong gets put on the practice squad as well.
There was a point early in training camp that so many people were hyping up Reed Sinnett. People were talking about trading Gardner Minshew and making Reed Sinnett the number 2.
Because we had a backup, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I try not to put too much stock into third stringers against second stringers and whatnot, but damn, I watched a big part of that game through like the third quarter on Saturday, and he was so bad. Like I don't even want him on the practice squad. George saying no, he thinks that Strong doesn't make the practice squad. I mean, there's something wrong with
maybe
Strong. I mean, maybe it's the name Carson. I don't know, but like you would think with as bad as Reed Sinnett was playing, you would have seen
the playing time in preseason. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Even in practice, it doesn't make any sense.
No, not at all. Now again, like this is the fun part about 53-man roster predictions, right? Who cares? Like to me, I don't give a damn who gets snuck onto the practice squad. But if I had to pick, I'm going with Carson Strong out of him and Reed Sinnett.
I think at different parts of this roster, it does matter if they can make, because I think when we get to like wide receiver or some of the other positions, you kind of got to make tough calls. And can they make it to the practice squad, or will somebody else pick them up? Right. Nobody's picking up Reed Sinnett or Carson Strong, so it does not matter whatsoever.
Yeah,
If we have to
none.
worry this season about Reed Sinet playing,
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I
it
don't.
don't mean jack crap
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
All right.
That was my point. Like, if Jalen goes down, we're already screwed. But it's Gardner, whatever. If both of them, if God forbid something happened to both of them, I don't even know if I could watch that Eagles game if I had to watch Reed Sinet or Carson Strong play. So that's what I mean by
Reed
like,
Sinet couldn't play against the second and third stringers. Can you imagine
yeah,
a first string defense against Reed Sinet?
like
It was that bad.
That would probably might be worse than watching Ben DiNucci quarterback for the Cowboys.
Who was cut this weekend?
Who was cut? Yeah.
The Italian sandwich was cut this weekend.
R.I.P. to that little sidearm throw he tried to make against the Eagles on the sideline.
Dude, that has got to be one of the best Italian football names there is. Ben DiNucci. Yeah. I love it. I love that name.
Had to get that.
All right. So the quarterbacks, obviously, we're in agreement there. I think next to special teams, the most obvious thing also on offense is the offensive line. There is not one question mark. I think they bring 10 guys out of camp, the 5 starters, 10. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Kelsey, Sayamalu, Lane Johnson. And then I believe Dillard, Opeta, Juergens, Anderson, Driscoll all make the team. I have no doubt on that. Who do you have not in that group making the team?
I just like I went through my locks and then I went back and kind of placed guys somewhere. So I see that, and I was very close to doing it. I may have went too strong with the linebacker position, but I was just thinking for special team purposes. So I don't have Jack Anderson on the list, but I can definitely see it happening. I have them keeping 9 at the moment, but 10 and him making it's definitely possible.
I wasn't sure if you were going to say Jack Anderson or Sue Opeta.
No, I have Opeta on it, and again, getting down to the 9th offensive lineman, if they're flip flopped, come on. But like I said, I was just looking at from special teams perspective. I might have went too heavy on the defensive side depth, but I have 9.
The other key thing to remember, it started last year and all. It's these practice squad guys. The practice squad roster is much bigger than it used to be. I think it's up to like 17 or 18 guys. You can protect 4 guys every single week. So trying to sneak these guys in, there's a lot more savings you can do. Right. So Adam says what stars get cut, and when we get into wide receivers, I think that's the first spot that we could get into. With that, we'll get into that in a second. Tight end, obviously Dallas Goedert.
Yep.
Jack Stoll, agreed.
Yep.
And I've got Calcaterra making the team at this point. I think it would have been a little bit more question mark if Tyree Jackson wasn't hurt. He's on the PUP list at this point. But I think
they'll flip that at some point when he's healthy, because I know how high we had this conversation a couple weeks ago. I know how high they were on him before he got injured. Depending on how serious that injury is, maybe not. But when he comes back, I could see Grant or Stoll getting moved for Tyree Jackson.
I really, when I was trying to write this roster, when I was writing mine down, I really thought that I was only going to end up with 2 tight ends. But then I got down to, I'm like, there's no way that I don't think we think they're going to carry 3 or 2, but it's 3. It's got to be, because I also only have 3 running backs making the final roster. I've got Sanders, Boston Scott, and Kenneth Gainwell.
Kenny, yep, that's who I have.
That's it. And I was pre-recording my Eagles top 10 important list for the season, guys that are most important for success this season. And this is the 3 here that I think is going to make the biggest change, because Miles Sanders is super important. People don't realize it this year. Reports are now saying that even though he's had a hamstring issue, he'll be ready for week 1. If there's no Miles Sanders, I don't have confidence in Boston Scott or Kenneth Gainwell leading why is everybody so hyped on Kenneth Gainwell? I know he's got potential, but what has he ever really done last year or in preseason or training camp this year that really makes him stand out and go, what on game tape do you have of him saying, wow, that guy's the big deal? So if Miles Sanders can't go, if Miles Sanders can't go, we need another running back, because this is where I think they're going to be monitoring that waiver wire. If Kareem Hunt, we don't want to trade for Kareem Hunt. Say Kenyon Drake is traded. Kenyon Drake just got traded. If there's a guy that's of a valuable running back that gets traded, that's where this 53, maybe they cut Jack Anderson, like you say, and bring in that 4th running back. That's where that goes. But Huntley hasn't done anything to earn a roster.
He's on the practice squad, I would imagine.
Yeah. So what do you think with this running back room? It's got to be those 3. Do they?
No, I'm with you. That's what I have as well.
They're bringing somebody else in when the waivers start hitting the waiver wire.
Listen, so I'm with you in terms of the running back depth. Like, I know, myself included, fans are worried or nervous about Miles Sanders this year, his ability to stay healthy, even just the type of runner he is, where he can pop a 70-yard touchdown run, but there's a lot of dancing behind the line of scrimmage. There's a lot of what could be plus plays turned into negative plays for him, but he is your RB1. Like, he's your prototypical running back on this team. Kenny Gainwell and Boston Scott, they're too similar for me. They're both smaller backs. They're neither are 3-down backs. They can pass catch out of the backfield, and they got a little bit of speed to them, right? So neither one of those guys, like, if Miles Sanders isn't healthy, I'm not comfortable rolling out those two as my starters. Now, I get it. We did it last year, and add a 42-year-old Jordan Howard, it feels like, right? And they still had the number one rushing offense in football. So I get it. Maybe we're crazy for overreacting to what the room looks like, but I'm 100% with you. And then just in terms of not carrying 4, I think it would be S9 to carry. There's no need to carry 4 running backs on your active roster. So it's definitely those 3 for me.
I mean, I thought at one point, even when we got him 2 years ago, I thought Jason Huntley was going to be that kick returner.
Something, in the future.
Right? I thought there was something there. But now it's been a while now since
Wasn't
he's here.
there?
He just can't do it.
Wasn't there a running back? I don't even know if he got cut already. Let me see. Yeah, he must have. What was that running back, the undrafted rookie that we picked up from the little speed dude?
I don't even know. He was so ineffective. I don't even remember his name.
Yeah, I know. I'll look it up while you continue. But I remember they picked him up, and some people were excited about his speed and, if he could be on special teams. Let's see. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so while you're trying to figure that out,
Kennedy Brooks from Oklahoma.
Yeah. No, he played on Saturday. He had a few touches on Saturday night.
Really? Well, he's not on the depth chart on ESPN, so I don't know if he's going yet.
You're on ESPN. I've got the Eagles website. Let me see if he's on the Eagles depth chart on their website. He is. He's listed. They don't have any third stringers listed, but they have 2 4-stringers in Huntley and Brooks listed. So neither of them have stepped up on the Eagles depth chart to be able to get that third string role there. That's how bad they're doing. They may have 4 running backs dressed on opening game on September 11th against Detroit, but it's not going to be anybody that's on the roster as that 4th running back. It's going to have to be an addition that's made in the next, 2 to 4 days.
2 weeks.
Yeah, next 2 weeks. So wide receiver. This is, I think, the first question mark here.
For sure.
Obviously, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal.
Yep.
Unless a trade is made, Jalen Reagor is number 5.
I have it there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Number 6 is where the questions come in. And I was 100% ready to put Britton Covey into that 6th spot. And then I forget who I was listening to this weekend. It was a beat reporter that was doing a podcast or a video. And Greg Ward's name came up for that 6th spot. And reason why, I know, listen, hear me out. He hasn't practiced pretty much since like week 1 of training camp. Maybe not at all. Some kind of a toe injury that's been lingering. But he's been around camp all week, all off season here. Have they just been protecting Greg Ward because they already knew he was going to make the team, and no reason to risk hurting an important leader because if he's the 6th guy, he's not going to see the field much. Yeah. He's a really good special teamer to an extent. He catches the ball, whatever. Are we thinking too much about Britton Covey, Deion Kane, Devin Allen, and those guys?
Oh, man.
And really, the Eagles have already made their decision, and Greg Ward's going to be that guy at number 6. Or are we reading too much into whatever that beat reporter was saying, and he's just pretty much a lock to get cut?
Well, he brings up an interesting point, right? Because if he hasn't played all training camp or most of training camp or any of the preseason games, and he's that low on the depth chart, cuts have already been made, not to the final 53, but they've been made throughout the summer. Why would he still be around? It's not like
if he was so injured, couldn't he be just on the PUP list right now?
Right, but not even just that. Like if it was going to be Britton Covey, if it was going to be Deion Kane, why would Greg Ward still just be hanging? Like he would have been cut already. Do you get my point? Like because they knew they weren't going to be able to see anything out of him. Mm-hmm. So why would he still be around? So that's a very interesting point. For what I have down, I'm not going to switch just because of that point, but I can definitely see that being the case now. Yeah. I do have Britton Covey. I put it out of the 3, out of Deion Kane, Britton Covey, Devin Allen. Devin Allen's number 9 on the list. Like I get the speed. I get the touchdown he had against Cleveland. He's number 9, guys. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people who are rooting for him to make the team. Then it comes down to Britton Covey and Deion Kane. I know Britton Covey got nicked up for a second. He only had one catch for 6 yards as well. Deion Kane had 2 for 26.
Actually, a really, really tough behind his back catch.
Yeah.
In double cover. Reached in that, made a bad throw behind him. He reached back. He had 2 defenders crashing on each side. And he was able to keep the concentration, make the tough catch, take a big hit, and pop up and everything. So it was one catch. It was an impressive one catch.
Right. Yeah. I have Britton Covey. I have Britton Covey as the 6 for now, just because he can do more. They had him returning punts and kicks early on in training camp. Everyone really liked him early on in training camp. And Deion Kane flashed for all of 22 seconds. Like, everyone got so pumped up the week of the Browns joint practice in that game. He had a really nice catch. I get it. He did nothing else throughout training camp, nothing else in the final preseason game to solidify that spot. Not that Britton Covey's done a whole hell of a lot of anything either. Well, I just think they liked him early on, continued to like him no matter what he showed. So I'm going Covey. I can definitely see Greg Ward.
Spot might be less important, but because of the way this team is constructed, that's 6 spot.
George, we don't care. We're just predicting the roster.
Covey making the team. He's making the team, and he's going to be playing every week on special teams. He is going to be that kick and punt returner.
So he brings
if
something
what we said so far comes true, he is going to have an impact on this team. Because who else is going to – if Greg Ward's not here, do you want Jalen Reagor or Kenneth Gainwell as a kick or punt returner? No. I mean, Britton Covey will make this roster as that 6 wide receiver to be your punt and kick returner. The kick returner.
There's no way they keep 7, right?
Where are you going to cut somebody else?
I don't know, the 7th linebacker you could keep.
Well, I don't have 7 linebackers on my roster here. I only got 6.
I'm just throwing out a number. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I highly doubt seeing that. I don't know if any team's ever kept 7. You know, I mean,
I don't think they will. I'm just saying.
I don't remember the exact number, but last year when I was doing my 53-man roster prediction show, I had listed, and I didn't have the time yesterday to do it. I had gone back the last 5 years of Howie.
I remember.
Man roster and predicting they've taken this many guys this day, this many guys this day, and he had come out of camp with only 5 wide receivers, something like 3 out of the last 4 years or 4 out of the last 5 years. So us saying 6 is a huge change for him.
Yeah,
there's a chance. There's a legit chance that Covey gets cut too, and they only come out of camp with 5 wide receivers.
I'll be a little surprised.
I mean, I would be surprised as well, but I really don't think it would be that out of the realm of possibilities.
No, it would stick with what he
let's be honest,
has done consistently. But
Covey, Allen, and Kane all would make it under the practice squad.
Probably.
And you could always bring one of them up if you want to and protect one of them. Like last year, they protected Jonathan Hightower like 6 of the first 8 weeks and brought him up. They could do that with one of those guys. They could protect Covey the first couple of weeks, bring him up, and then I think after you get protected so many times and brought up, then you have to be added to the roster. And if he does well, they can maybe then add him to the 53. But there is a legit chance that they go 5. But
I definitely see it, and I'm with you. I got Covey as well, but I think there's more noise to Greg Ward than any of the rest of the wide receiver.
I love my man Chris Franklin. We've had a good working relationship, me and him for a few years now. Great guy, NJ.com. Dude, I was reading his 53-man roster predictions late last night, early this morning, and he thinks Greg Ward would actually make it onto the Eagles practice squad. And I got to say, man, there's no way Ward makes it to a practice squad. Another team will pick up Greg Ward if he gets cut.
Probably, but how old is Greg Ward now? It feels like he's 52, but he's probably probably like 28, 29.
I don't even know if he's that old, honestly. I'm typing that in. I need to know how old Greg Ward is right now. He is, he's born in 95, so that's 25. Yeah, he's 27. So, yeah. That's older than I thought.
He is the oldest 27-year-old I've ever known.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Yeah, maybe Covey would get clean. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's probably one of the 2 or 3 most intriguing.
Exactly. Yep.
You know what? And we'll pause here for a second. The fact that we are picking apart the 3rd and 4th string practice squad quarterback
feels nice, doesn't it?
6 wide receiver. This feels good.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, Jalen Reagor, we were
Yeah.
discussing was whether he was
Last
number
year
2 or 3
Yeah,
on their
last year we had
team.
a battle over starters. Yeah.
We had battles all over. Was Jordan Mailata or Andre Dillard going to be the
Yeah.
starting left tackle? You know, this feels good to have this conversation about guys that if they have to play a major factor, something's wrong. It feels good to have this conversation.
110%.
I think that's it. I think really on offense, the only questions are at wide receiver, really. I mean, whether you get the 9th or 10th or lineman, but I think offensively speaking, until all the teams make their cuts and we maybe make an adjustment to running back, I think the offense is pretty much set. The 25-ish guys that are going to make the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and we have agreed on everything so far outside of I have one less guy on the offensive side.
Yeah, because you have one
But
more linebacker, which we're going to get into in a second. I have one less. It's
yeah.
actually pretty good feeling right now.
Dude, like you said, we look back on it and we got excited because everything was new last offseason.
Mhm.
New system, new coordinators, new head coach, rookie QB basically. And it's like, oh, well, at least it's exciting because it's new. But we all knew in the back of our minds, like, damn, man, we had Devontae Smith as our rookie wide receiver 1. And now we're arguing over Quez Watkins and Jalen Reagor for number 2 and 3. Like, who's playing in the slot? Blah, blah, blah. You don't have to worry about that anymore, dude. Like, it's really, really exciting from an offensive perspective.
Mm-hmm. It really is. All right, so on the defensive side, there's some questions in the secondary. Obviously, we're going to have some questions with linebacker because you got 7 of them on your team.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive line, the interior, Cox, Hargrave, Davis, Milton Williams, and I got Tupelota making the team. I think it's not locked in stone that he makes the team.
No, Marlon, hell no. The top 4, 110%. No one's going to argue that.
Tupelota, I put on there because I've only got 4 ends in Sweat, Brandon Graham, Josh Barnett
and Jackson.
And Jackson.
Okay,
so I got 9. So we got 9 defensive linemen.
So we're in agreement there.
A lot of guys could play inside, outside. There's a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah. Damn it, Phil! Why couldn't we just come on here and have a completely different list?
Yeah, just purposely disagree just to have
just
to have an argument.
Just some hot takes.
It's
Yeah,
so easy
but no,
this is why
I'm
we
with
didn't need 53 man roster shows.
I had the same 9. There's one question, and that is Tuipulotu. Because when you look at ends, like I get it, Teron Jackson shouldn't be a lock, but they're not weak at end, but they're limited at end. So you have, like you said, you have Graham, Sweat, and Barnett. Outside of that, you're keeping him. Like there's no real question about.
The other part of that is that you got 7, I got 6 linebackers, but realistically speaking, Hassan Reddick, he's listed as a linebacker, but he's really going to be playing
an edge. Yeah. I have him listed as a linebacker
as well. So like I said, we did it, and I haven't had a chance to post it yet. I talked about it last week, on a show that, can you imagine a lineup with Brandon Graham and Hassan Reddick on the outside, with Cox, Hargrave, and Jordan Davis in the middle all together? Yeah. And that is conceivably one of the 5-2 fronts that they could hypothetically run with Edwards and Kazir White as your linebackers.
Right,
if you
exactly. You need some
guys.
speed. Yeah, you need some speed out there.
You put those 2 linebackers with those 5 down linemen, and Reddick's considered an offensive or a linebacker, but he's really just going to be blitzing.
Right. He's not going to be dropping back in coverage as much as everyone was hyping up when Gannon dropped him back on day 2 of camp. What's he doing? Gannon doesn't know what he's doing.
I'm still sticking to my 18.5 sacks for Hassan Reddick this year.
Hey, man, if Hassan Reddick has 18.5 sacks or anywhere near 16, 15, the Eagles defense is in good shape.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's some number that just popped into my head, and I'm just going to ride with it. I'm going to ride with it all year long.
Yeah.
So at linebacker, obviously Kazir White, TJ Edwards, Hassan Reddick, Nakobe Dean. They're all making the team.
Those are 4. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I got Davian Taylor still making the team. I think it's close. We might get surprised on him. I don't know. And I got Patrick Johnson as the final linebacker. I know you're probably going to say Sean Bradley as well.
Well, I have a slash if that's allowed. I have Sean Bradley.
You're throwing new rules into this.
No. I have Sean Bradley as the guy, but he's not a lock. I could see the kid from Kansas, Kyron Johnson, possibly having a chance. He could also be a practice squad guy. I don't know if anyone would claim him. But again, that is not in terms of being a linebacker. That is I'm filling out the special teams and who's
Right.
athletic enough to make that squad. So when I say 7, I really mean a special teamer.
Right. I really like Patrick Johnson. I think he's ahead of Davian Taylor, Sean Bradley, and all those guys that you mentioned there. I think he's the 5th guy. I could see, because of special teams play, they seem to like Sean Bradley on special teams. I could see Davian Taylor being the odd man out over Sean Bradley. Davian Taylor
It's
is a
interesting,
guy
man.
I want to have buy the hype, and he just keeps getting hurt. He showed progress last year. Absolutely agree, and that's why I think he gets another year. But he's got to stay healthy.
Right, and also, if we're being honest, though, Phil, like the depth's nice, and I'm not arguing the depth, but like if everything goes as planned as to what we want and who are the top 4,
We don't need Davian
playing.
Taylor anymore.
There's no playing time. Now you do, obviously, with injuries. I'm just saying, knock on wood, everyone's healthy. There's no spot for him. There's no spot for a Patrick Johnson. Like they're special teams guys at that point, and then their depth for help if everything goes as planned.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that's a really great point. Like we're debating, like who's the better special team player, Davian Taylor or Sean Bradley?
Exactly.
Well, whoever the special teams player is probably should be the one that gets the spot, because if we need Davian Taylor, that means
it's not who the better linebacker is.
Yeah, it's 2 of the top 4 guys get hurt then, and that means we're in trouble then. That means we're having a rash of injuries. The defense might be struggling at that point. Davian Taylor, let's be honest, because of his track record so far, there's a strong chance that he could get slid into the practice squad. I mean,
maybe someone would take a flyer on him because of the speed and the athleticism, and if they can turn him into something.
Injury history.
And George is right. He did show progress last year, but I remember
last season I thought he had finally turned a corner and he was going to be the starting linebacker of the future.
Man. See, that's the thing. I was just going to bring that point up. When we talk about expectations last year and how we try to talk ourselves into guys, he is exactly this, Phil. He is a fringe depth piece on your linebacking core. He could possibly be a special teamer. We all try to talk ourselves into, when we play Lamar and when we play Russ and Kyler, he could spy Jalen all week long in practice. And, come on, man. Like we try to talk ourselves into the speed and the athleticism instead of just
what's the point?
What is talent? Yeah, there is no point.
Yeah, so that's that. So I got Davian Taylor, Patrick Johnson. Right. You also got the Bradley / because your 53-man roster is really a 54-man roster.
No. I have Bradley down. I just think that Kyron Johnson has a shot still.
Yeah, I think Kyron Johnson's got a better shot at making the practice squad, than
anybody else.
Roster.
Yeah.
And
so
Jacoby Stephen will be on the practice squad as well. But again, we're set on the top 4. This is actually probably the position we've had the most disagreement on so far.
Just in terms of depth, yeah, I mean, the top 4, who are your starters, we have no problem, and even a backup, we have no problem with. However, we're all evened up number-wise now. You have the extra offensive lineman.
All right, so,
I have the extra linebacker.
We're gonna round out our roster here with the secondary. We're gonna combine the safeties and the cornerbacks, because let me be honest, I've read 2 different depth charts, 3 different 53-man roster prediction articles from guys.
So that means we have the same number in this category, though. It just depends.
I've got 11 guys total.
Me too.
In this category, but see, the thing is, certain of these guys, certain depth charts have certain guys listed as safeties. Some of them have them listed as cornerback. And there's a lot of guys that could play both, like a Shazier. On some places is listed as a safety. Some places he's listed as a cornerback because he can play.
I have him as a safety at the moment.
I have him listed as a safety at the moment as well. So let's start. Obviously, the starters. There's no doubt about it. Anthony Harris and Kayvon Wallace are the starters at safety, right? I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry. I had my other screen pulled up.
Kayvon Wallace is starting. Yeah,
I had my other screen up, and I didn't see smile or anything because I didn't have the screen guard up. So I was like, "What?"
Yeah. What did he just say? No, Anthony Harris, Mark, and Epps. They're your starting safeties. Slay, Bradbury, Maddox, your starting cornerbacks. We agree there. There's no doubt about it. That's 5 of the 11 right there. The rest of it, I think, is where there's questions. I think Zach McPherson, he's an invested draft pick. He makes another. He makes another final spot there.
Yep.
Then I think it starts to get interesting. I have both Kayvon Wallace and Tart getting cut.
Wow. Okay, I have Wallace cut.
Wallace, there's no doubt about it in my mind, gets cut now. I watched that game on Saturday night, and I know it's third stringers going up against third stringers, but Tart's a guy that's got how many starts in the NFL? I think he's played in the. He played on the Super Bowl San Francisco team. And he was struggling to tackle third stringers on Saturday night. Like he was late and behind every single play. I was on the fence on whether Tart would be a cut, but then I watched that game, and the lack of position. You look at it. I've got Shazier making the team. He can play safety or slot. I've got Josh Joby making the team. Jacoby Scott making the team. All those guys can play safety and slot corner and be flexible. And what?
And do you have Blankenship making the team?
I do have Blankenship making it as the final. He's not as flexible, but he's also a really good special teamers. So I've got Harris Epps,
and Shazier,
Blankenship, and Shazier as my 4 safeties.
And
then I got Slay, Bradbury, Maddox, McPherson, Joby, Scott, and Vincent as my cornerbacks.
Okay. So that's the difference. You're keeping Vincent and
exactly, George. They won him because he played for the 49ers. He's got all these starts. I think he played on that Super Bowl team. I don't know if he went back that far, but I think he did. Dude, the guy got destroyed last year in the play. Was it in the playoffs when he dropped that big pass?
Yeah,
that big
he did. That was him.
Guys, come on. He's not that good, and he played so bad on Saturday.
I get it. So
that's why I've got to go.
I get it. Our only difference is I have Jaquiski Tart making his team. You have Carrie Vincent Jr. Yeah. I get it. He looks bad. He looks lost, and he's the more veteran guy. If we're arguing about the 6th safety versus the 7th corner again,
but no. I think that cool. You're wrong there, because some people have Tart as the 3rd safety on this team.
Well, I don't have him as the 3rd safety.
Well, even the 4th safety, when you're only carrying 4 safeties, it's not like you got a 2nd string and a 3rd string. Like, if you're the 4th safety on this team, that still gets you playing time. People think Tart could start on this team. Tart is not a good safety. There's a reason why the 49ers
that plays into this comment. The people that think he can start or be the 3rd, it plays into that comment. But I have 5 safeties if he's my 5th safety, whatever.
I think he's got it. I hate putting credibility into 3rd preseason games. I really do. But when you're a guy with the name recognition of Tart and you can't handle 3rd and 4th quarter snaps in a preseason game, that tells me all I need to know.
Well, KC had commented last week that he saw that he's having trouble reading the playbook.
Yeah. Well, that's not good. If you're a veteran guy that's been in the league for 3, 4, 5 years, reading a playbook should not, and it's not like they're running complex plays in preseason.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know it was our 2nd stringer and Tart, but Tart's a guy that started in the NFL a strong amount of games. Tua and the starters went for 2 or 3 drives for the Dolphins against our 2nd string defense. And
can I add one thing in here?
Picked our secondary apart. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So this has nothing to do with the 53 man. I just had to touch on this because, like I said, I didn't see the game. However, I'm at the draft. I go on Twitter. I see it's 7-0. Scroll down. I see the big play to Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my Lord! People at the draft that don't watch a lot of football. The casual fan base, right? Casual fans. They're sitting here whispering, I can hear them. The Eagles are getting their ass kicked. Look at the secondary. And then I go on social media and I see people freaking out, and I'm like, dude, we can't be serious, right? There's no way we can be serious with that.
Well, the only thing I'm going to say is serious is Jaquiski Tart was out there.
No, well, my point is people were genuinely concerned. The casual fan was concerned with the number ones in Tyreek Hill beating up on Zach McPherson and Kayvon Wallace.
Can I make a non-53 man roster statement? Yeah. If I was a Dolphins fan, I'd be seriously concerned with my head coach running my starting quarterback and wide receiver and starting tight end for 3 drives in a meaningless 3rd preseason game when you guys were all just sick, 3 days ago and couldn't practice.
Right.
If I was a Dolphins fan, I'd be pissed off.
Right. And the Eagles
luckily they all came out unscathed. But man, that is a huge risk. All right, you want to run them 1 drive? You scored. You marched right down the field and scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yank those guys. You didn't run them out there for a 2nd drive. You ran them out there for 3 drives. What is going through Mike McDaniel's head to do that?
I don't know, dude. That was really bad. And I don't even get to starting them. You asked me last week if I would play the Eagle starters at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I said no. I don't care about the 3rd preseason game, even for a drive. If you're Miami And not only, like you said, it's not just one possession that you scored on, not just 2, 3. It's also the Eagles conceded. The Eagles weren't playing their starters. So when you look across that locker room and you see everyone in street clothes, why on God's green earth would you run your starters out there and put them at risk?
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, I mean, hell, they had to dress X amount of guys. So, like, Jordan Davis dressed, I think he played like 2 snaps, and Cam Jurgens, I think, snapped the ball 1 time and then was out of the game. But there's no point. All right, so Miami has questions, and I ran a poll question. Actually, we'll pull it up in a minute here, and we'll continue this conversation with it. Tua's got as many question marks, if not more question marks, than Jalen Hurts. All right, you want to run Tua to get him a little bit more? All right, I don't agree, but you can convince me of it. But Tyreek Hill, you just broke the bank. You traded away every pick left, and then all the other stuff happened where you lost even more picks in suspensions and fines. You can't risk getting Tyreek Hill hurt for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Tyreek Hill takes hits. He's a guy that relies on those legs. You do not run Tyreek Hill out there in any preseason game. You just don't need to do it. It baffled my mind.
I mean, I thought everyone knew that. I thought that was a promise.
Yeah, I mean, we had slow starts at the beginning of last year. And look, Detroit, we're all overlooking Detroit because it's Detroit, but Detroit's a much better team. And when we get into week 1 prep work, Detroit, we're going to find out a lot about Detroit. Detroit is not a bad team. They're still not a good team. They're still not a playoff team, but they're not the 3-win Detroit Lions anymore. They're going to win 6 to 8 games maybe this year. So, yeah, absolutely. Even after that sack, they kept – exactly. He took a hit, and they left him in there. It makes literally 0 sense.
Detroit's got some weapons, by the way, offensively. When me and Scotty broke down the North and I talked about, like, they're incredibly young, but Dan Campbell had them at least competitive and fighting every week last year. I'm not Jared Goff's biggest hater like some people are, but I'm also not a fan of Jared Goff. But when you look at the run, when you have DeAndre Swift healthy for them, and then you had Amon-Ra St. Brown break on the scene, they bring in DJ Chark, you have TJ Hawkinson, like, they can give the Eagles defense a little bit of problems. And maybe I'm underestimating by saying a little bit, but then again, it all comes back to the quarterback.
All right, so I ran this poll during the game on Saturday. Who would you rather for the next 3 to 5 years as your starting quarterback? And I made sure to hashtag the Dolphins fans and fins up and all that stuff because I wanted, and a couple Dolphins podcasters retweeted it. So some of these, there's 94 votes on it. Some of these are Dolphins fans voting. And look at how wide of a margin it is on the results. It's only 94 votes, whatever. But it's 75-25. It's 4-1. Jalen Hurts over Tua. Do you agree with that? Do you agree? Would you take Jalen Hurts for the next 3 to 5 years over Tua if you had only 2 choices, him or him, for the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah.
Are you taking Jalen Hurts over Tua?
I am taking Jalen Hurts over Tua. However, I don't know if the gap is 75-25.
Really?
Yeah, man. Like, I'm sorry. Again, now here comes the negative Nancy in me. I know I'm excited about the upside and him growing this year and having AJ Brown. But like, and Tua was not good last year either. But what did we see out of Jalen Hurts? Like, we have all these question marks about Jalen Hurts as a passer. How is it that he's 50% better than Tua? I don't know that. I'm not saying he's not, but I don't know that.
So what I'm gonna say. So this is how I feel. Like, I voted for Jalen Hurts because you guys all know, and it does not necessarily mean and translate to wins. The intangibles of Jalen Hurts make me think Jalen Hurts is a better person. Now, I don't hear Tua making comments after practice every day that rent is due and stuff like that. So I don't know what's going on off the field in Miami. I just see the stats, the highlights, and the few Dolphins games I watch. But Jalen Hurts seems like the better leader than Tua.
Yeah, sure.
Okay?
I'm not saying he's not.
And, I just, Tua, to me, even in college, always thought he was a little overrated. I didn't think Jalen Hurts should have lost his starting job at Alabama because of his injury. When he was healthy and ready to go, I thought he should have taken back over that job. Right. So, and at that point, I was still watching college football to an extent. And I still, even in Alabama, what was that, 4 or 5 years ago? Yeah. I still thought Hurts was better than Tua then. And I know Tua led them to the championship game and all that stuff. But much bigger fan of Hurts since day one.
No, listen.
Because of the intangibles.
Listen, I'm taking Hurts as well. And I actually do believe in the growth this year in Jalen.
Really? I didn't know there was sarcasm there.
However, my whole point is everyone, if the vote is 75-25, that is because people are out on Tua. Mm-hmm. And I've seen a lot of people trash Tua. And I get that. I don't think Tua is very good either. Mm-hmm. But again, it goes back to the question, what did you watch last year to make you feel so comfortable that Jalen Hurts as a passer and a quarterback is leaps and bounds ahead of Tua, that 110% you would take him over Tua for the next 3 years?
Jalen Hurts, a team that won 4 games the year before and helped, he didn't do it on his own, helped lead them to the playoffs. Did Tua make the playoffs last year?
Hold on. Now I have to go back and see. What was Miami's record last year? I know that. I know that. But
they won like 7 games in a row, the Dolphins, or 8 games in a row, and it still wasn't enough to get to the playoffs. One led this team to the playoffs, one did not. One had everybody hating on him and still was able to overcome all the outside noise, help lead his team to the playoffs. Gardner Minshew doesn't lead that team to the playoffs.
But did Tua have a lot more responsibility last year than Jalen Hurts did as a passer? Yes.
Maybe, because he doesn't run the ball like he's supposed to. Like, Tua is legitimately a running quarterback, but he doesn't run anymore, or as much as he did in college because of that injury. And also,
listen, I know this comes off as like pro Tua. I'm not. Yeah. I'm just saying I don't think the answer is 75-25 that clear. I actually
think Jalen Hurts is a better thrower of the football than Tua is. And that's one thing that everyone says Tua is better at. If you watch some Tua tape,
I don't know.
Dude, let me tell you something. Tua is short. Like, we talk about Jalen Hurts' arm strength, and I think it's overblown to an extent. Tua has no arm strength whatsoever. That guy does not know how to throw a football. It's not good. I saw him in joint practice under throwing wide open receivers. I don't know.
We agree.
I think the Dolphins made a big mistake drafting Tua. It was whatever it was, 5 or 6 overall, and yeah, I just don't buy it. I don't buy the Tua hype whatsoever.
That's why I'm not. There is no hype from me. There is no hype from me for Tua. Yeah. All I'm saying, and I'm taking Hurts. All I'm saying is I don't think the answer is in the snap of your finger. Definitively, maybe you, but I'm saying 75-25 is a big discrepancy, dude.
It is. And again, I have 4,800 plus followers, and
right, it's probably a lot of Eagles fans. Yeah.
Okay,
and I voted Hurts too.
90. I actually forgot till the show started that I ran this poll, so I didn't even boost it back. Like, I'll retweet it a few times to boost it to get more votes and stuff. 95 votes. It's basically 100 to 20. It's like 75 to 25 votes, basically. You know what I mean? So it's a very small sample size. Maybe I'll boost it up again today and see if more votes, if it balances out any.
Yeah.
But I think I'm not surprised. Like I said, Adam saying the Dolphins fan picked Tua. I don't know. But I do know that 1 or 2 Dolphins podcast networks shared this tweet out. And so there are votes for Dolphins fans. I bet you if you polled 100 Dolphins fans, 35 to 50 of them would probably pick Jalen Hurts over Tua.
I don't know that.
Not 75 to 25, but I bet you it'd be close to even.
I don't know. I don't know what the vibe is from Miami fans on Tua. All right, like they that's my point. Why the discrepancy shouldn't be that big. They are in the exact same boat. They are both unproven. They've both now gathered a wide receiver 1, a ton of weapons around them. This is a prove it year. They're stylistically the same. They come from the same school. We know the relationship, all that. They're so similar, and they're so similar in what they need to improve on that I just don't know how it's so crystal clear one over the other at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I maybe I'm blinded because I'm a Jalen Hurts, guy. You know what I mean? Maybe I am slightly. I have no problem admitting that maybe my hype for Jalen Hurts is blinding my opinion a little bit on it. Yeah, how many people aren't sold on Dak? Yeah, I mean, hey, I would take Dak over Jalen Hurts. I would take Dak over Tua in a heartbeat.
I agree. I agree with what KC said. I think it's at this point. I'm fully in on the Jalen Hurts train right now. Let's see how he improves. Let's see what this offense looks like. But today, before the season starts, I have no freaking idea. Miami could go out and be a juggernaut with all the weapons they have, and Tua might not even look that good. I don't know, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I don't know. Did we wrap up our 53-man roster there? Did we agree?
We did.
On the
So we didn't.
I got Harris, Epps, Slade, Bradbury, Maddox. They're my 5 starting secondary. Blankenship, Shazier, Scott, McPherson, Joby, and Vincent.
The only difference is I kept Tart, you kept Carey Vincent, and then I have an extra linebacker, you have an extra offensive lineman. So we have 2 difference of opinions out of 53.
Right. So, I mean, we've only got about 10 or 12 minutes left in the show, so we'll just stick to Eagles for the rest of the show here, and we'll talk Eagles later this week, or Phillies later this week. So just say yours or mine. There's minimal differences. If a big move happens because of somebody getting cut and clearing waivers, or they pick somebody up off of waivers, what position would you like to see them target first, and that you think is like the most important? That we agree, but it needs work. Where are your eyes if you're Howie Roseman on that waiver wire?
I mean, I think it's clear that the biggest hole or biggest deficit on this team is the safety position. So that's where I would target, but I just don't see not a game changer, but an important piece, anything better than an Anthony Harris, Marcus Epps type of level guy, even maybe a slightly lower version of getting cut or let go or released in the next week or so. So I think safety is the most important position to target, but I think the most reasonable, like where you can get a piece of talent from, is the running back position. Okay. Depending on, again, if Miles Sanders is healthy, they're not going to target there. But I do think it's something to keep an eye on. Outside of that,
I agree with you on the safety. I think the question isn't, you're not going to find a better player on the waiver wire than Harris or Epps, but you might find a better player on the waiver wire than Blankenship or Shazier. And that's where, to me, look, third safeties do play in the regular season, and they do play snaps. Look, I've been convinced by George. I bought into the Blankenship hype. I bought into the Shazier hype. Hell, that's why I got Wallace and Tart cut. But there's better players out there than Shazier and Blankenship.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
If somebody gets cut there, it's not to, take over for Marcus Epps or Anthony Harris. It's to, bump down those other guys just another step. Maybe they keep 5 safeties and they cut Vincent, or they got to go one of those. Yeah, I mean, he's saying anywhere in the defensive backfield, even cornerback. Yeah, I mean, look, you could cut Joby and Scott and Vincent. I could care less. Yeah, they've got so many.
It's probably not a problem. To bring an upgrade in over Zach McPherson.
Average, cornerbacks on this team. On the back end of it, it's a problem. It really is. Even Zach McPherson. I mean, what was he, a 3rd round pick? Or 4th round pick? 4th round pick?
4th or 5th, but I want to say 4th.
Yeah, I want to say 4th. The guy hasn't shown anything yet.
No. Dude, I love, listen, I love this is what we do, and fans be fans, right? But that's why, how I am. I cannot stand when this fan base puts stock or faith into just low tier, low caliber type of players. So anyone, I get it. Yes, Blankenship should and probably will make the team. But there's a difference from saying someone should make the team and having stock in Reed Blankenship. You know what I mean? So people out there will tell you, no, he can play for this team, and not try to improve the safety position because you have Reed Blankenship. See, that's my push. George Smith, dude. So I guess he's putting stock in Joby. I don't know. I don't know.
Is there a surprise cut coming? It's tomorrow afternoon, so it's 36 hours. Is there a surprise cut coming? Would you consider Greg Ward, if he gets cut, a surprise cut?
No, because I don't even have him making the team at the moment.
Right, exactly. Would a Davian Taylor getting cut be a surprise?
I don't think so. I have him making a team.
I mean, I have him making the team. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not surprised if Kayvon Wallace gets cut. Like, I'm looking at who I've got on the 53-man roster, and I'm like, the only surprise, it would legitly, I mean, it would excite a lot of people. But if Jalen Reagor got cut, I would be excessively surprised if he just gets straight up cut. But it's something I can maybe see. Yeah, Casey, we have Davian Taylor making the roster, but I don't know if it would be a surprise because he's not done anything. And would you keep Davian Taylor and his potential? We talked about it earlier. Davian Taylor's potential, when you have 4 or 5 really good linebackers ahead of him, over Sean Bradley, who's a really good special teamer. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. If we need Davian Taylor to play or Sean Bradley to play, both of them aren't going to do anything, to start. You know what I mean? That would be a problem. So I think the only real surprise that could come in the next 36 hours to me is Jalen Reagor getting cut.
That's it as well. And obviously, to add somebody to the roster, somebody would have to be cut. But when you're using the word surprise, I think I'm more interested to see if there's more of a surprise add than there is a surprise cut. And when I say that, obviously, it's like, well, it's Dylan. You have to cut someone from your 53. Well, like you said, if Davion Taylor gets cut, that opens up a spot. And no, that doesn't surprise me. So my thing is like we said, it would surprise me if they kept 7 wide receivers, or it would surprise me if Deion Kane was that number 6, or you get my point. So it's not necessarily the cut outside of Reagor. That's the only one that would probably get me like, what the hell? Exactly. The surprise keeper. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's almost like boring to this point compared to the last.
That's why I just want to get to week 1, dude. Like August has drawn on for so
less than 2 weeks
long. Yeah, but now we have nothing. There's no, like, not even that I care about preseason, but now there's no preseason buffer week to week. Now
there's not even training camp. It's just regular practice weeks now.
Exactly.
Where the reporters are only going to be in practice for like 20 or 30 minutes, and then they're going to get kicked out. There's literally nothing for the next 2 weeks.
You know what I care about now? You know what I care about now? I mean, I'm joking, but I just wish they would all go home for 2 weeks. Right now it just scares the hell out of me about somebody important getting hurt at this point. That's all that I worry about.
Because we've had a very soft, last 6 weeks of practice and stuff like that.
I'm still worried, man.
Yeah, I know.
Tweak an ankle, tweak a hammy.
Yeah, it happens. Look, I don't know. I think this is probably one of the most. We're at 53 minutes here, and we might just wrap the show up for the day because
there you go.
It's the most boring 53 minutes of the most boring 53-man roster prediction show we could do.
It is bland, isn't it?
It is bland when you have a good team. Oh, thanks, Adam. I appreciate you saying that, Adam. It makes my day. I mean, 53-man rosters are not exciting. That's why we don't do 53 of them. We just do one of them. Because it's a bland show, but it's something that has to be talked about. And I think we were pretty close to on board with it.
Well, and that's why it's bland. You know why? Because when I get it, but when we have 53 guys to go over and me and you tweak 2 spots, that tells you all you need to know. This roster is almost set in stone outside of maybe 4 spot kind of areas. And like we said, at that point, if those guys mean anything to the actual team, we're already in trouble.
Exactly. Barring that happening. Barring that happening. Is this 53-man roster that we almost 100% agree on good enough to win the NFC East? We don't have to give predictions or anything, but is this a division-winning roster?
110%.
Absolutely. Is this a team
that I will not stutter on?
Is this a team that could finish in the top 3 in the NFC?
Yeah. And I say that because it partially goes into the schedule as well. Like,
absolutely,
if they sat here,
the other teams not being as good, there's a
Dallas's first 6 or 7 weeks is insane. Yeah. Like, if the Eagles had Dallas's first 6 or 7 weeks of the schedule, I'd be sitting here. I don't know if I'd have 11 or 12 wins written out with that start, but they don't have that start.
Dallas. I mean, all day on Friday, I saw all over Twitter that everybody wants the Eagles to trade Andre Dillard to the Cowboys because they lost Smith probably for the season. Dude, there's no way I'm trading Andre Dillard to the Cowboys unless they give me like a massive overpay.
Nah, if they gave me a 2nd round pick, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
You would do it for a 2nd round pick?
In a freaking heartbeat.
Oh man, I would take a 2nd round pick.
A third? No.
No, I would take it from other teams. I'm not giving Andre Dillard and his potential.
Dude, that's the thing though. I can't worry about making the Cowboys slightly better because you like they're going to upgrade. So if it's not the Eagles helping them and getting something in compensation, then they're going to go get better from another team. The Eagles stay as is. So why not? I'm not saying trade them for a 4th or a 2/3. If you can get a 2nd-round pick for a backup left tackle, you do it. And let's not kid ourselves. Does it make the Cowboys better than what their current situation is? Probably. But do you think I'm scared of Andre Dillard on the left side of that offensive line? No. I don't want him starting for the Eagles.
All this time developing him and being patient with him.
I don't care.
Why would you give him to your division rival? It's different than giving Donovan
McNabb
a
2nd-round pick.
I would take a 2nd-round pick in other teams that we're not going to be playing them this year.
I can't worry about that. I cannot worry about making someone else better.
I would take a 1st for him, but that's about it from the Cowboys.
First of all, you're dreaming. I know he was a 1st-round pick. Shouldn't have been a 1st-round pick, Phil. They ain't getting a 1st-round pick.
All-pro left tackle for the season. You have hype. The Cowboys are supposed to.
But my point is, they are going to go get better at that spot from somewhere else, if not the Eagles and Andre Dillard. And I agree with George. I have no idea if they even want Andre Dillard. They might not. They wouldn't even offer a 4th, possibly. My point is that the Cowboys came calling and said, "Hey, here's a 2nd for your backup left tackle." You're goddamn right. I'm doing it.
I disagree.
What's the first time we disagreed all show, Phil?
It's great. It's great. Fantastic. And maybe I'm just pretending to disagree just so we sound different here, you know? No, but I do disagree. I'm not giving them to him. I don't want to make the Cowboys better. I don't.
I don't know how much better they should be.
What's the catch? Yeah. There's always a catch. All right, we're going to wrap up Trending the AM right there, Dylan. 53-man roster prediction show went as expected today.
Yeah.
Nothing exciting. Nothing fun. It's Overreaction Monday, and we didn't have any. My overreaction is I wouldn't trade Andre Dillard for a 2nd round.
There you go. Yeah.
That is my overreaction. And I'm going to say this. We got 2 minutes in. I'm going to end with an overreaction on the Phillies, Dylan. We don't even have to talk the Phillies. They went 6-1 last week. Overreaction Monday. Do not be surprised if at the end of next week they only go 3-3 combined against the Diamondbacks and the Giants.
We'll disagree for now.
That's my overreaction on the Phillies. Not
one loss on a Sunday afternoon, and this man's already scared again.
No, it has nothing to do with it. I actually was prepped for Phillies talk today. I went through the schedule. I went through the starters.
Maybe we'll do it tomorrow if I'm back on.
Yeah. I have some concerns about the next 6 games. I'm not saying they will go 3-3. I'm saying
so. It's a little bit more of a trap week kind of thing for you. Not a
all right. Big trap week here coming up for the Phillies. Anyway, we're wrapping it up right there. Make sure if you're watching this on replay, you hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate that. And stay locked into DSM Media. What do we got going on, Dylan, this week for DSM Media?
This week, not sure which day yet. Probably tomorrow or Wednesday. Faithful Fanatics with myself and Gint will be on. Turf Talk will be on once or twice later throughout the week. And then, of course, Phillies pregame shows. Later games, but I'm pretty sure we'll be getting them out all week long this week.
And there was a new show on Saturdays. If you're
new show, Fist First. Came
really
out.
Good news there for the first show on Sunday. There.
Yeah. No, it's cool. So as everyone knows, well, it's supposed to be Saturday. What your one of your founders here at DSM Media thought Saturday was the 28th and set the stream for the 28th. So going forward, for all my UFC people out there, Fist First will be live 2 p.m. on Saturday afternoons. You can catch the replay on our YouTube channel right now. Everyone knows we're heavy Philly sports, heavy sports in general. It's a little bit different of a show, combat sports. So check it out. Great insight. It was their first time. It was their first time doing this podcast live for us. So I think it went really well.
Awesome. All right. So everybody have a great Monday. We'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. We'll get into the Phillies. Don't you worry. I got lots to say about this weekend and this upcoming week. Everybody have a great Monday, guys. And we'll be back. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
And Philadelphia has it.